Good evening, guys, and welcome to another episode of Old Fiddles New Life. Something came up this evening. My son was in contact with us from Arkansas. He has a 6-year-old, I think, yeah, 6-year-old son named Nathan, and Nathan has expressed an interest in playing the violin eventually. And I said, well, I think that he needs a quarter size, and I don't think I've got a quarter size. So anyway, I went and checked, and I have 2 3/4 and I have a half. Half is usually for kids between 7 and 8 years old, so he's a little young for the half. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this around and show you what I've got and what I'm going to be working on, because by the time they get up here, they always come up during the summer sometime. I'm going to plan to have the half size done by that time. He should be just about there from being able to use a half size. So in the meantime, let me go ahead and turn this around and show you what we're looking at. First thing I'm going to show you is the 3/4 size. One of the 2 3/4 size. You remember the elderly gentleman up on the mountain who gave me some instruments? Well, this is one of the 2 3/4 size instruments that I did completely over. Brand new everything, brand new strings, pegs, bridge, case, bow. Anyway, I set these things all up to be able to rent them out and never did, and I still have them. So anyway, I'm going to show you the difference between a half size and a 3/4 size, and we're going to kind of go from there, and I'm going to show you the half size that I'm going to be working on. So let me get this thing turned around and show you what we're working with. Okay, so here is the lovely little 3/4 size, made in Bohemia. Just a gorgeous little instrument. I mean, you know, for being a 3/4 size, this is some really nice stuff. Some pretty spruce top, fine grain, beautifully done. This is no shabby little instrument. This thing is, for being a 3/4 size, this is really quite a nice piece. You know, real ebony fingerboard there. Some nice tight curly grain, curly maple on the back. Really nice piece. I mean, just unusual for a 3/4. Unusual. Lovely little violin. So anyway, that's what a 3/4 looks like. And this is a cheapy little bow. I bought these things to be able to rent them out, so this is not an expensive bow, but it's real bow hair. I mean, real horsehair. And it's it's not fiberglass. What is it? Carbon fiber. It's a carbon fiber bow, and it ought to hold up. So, all right. So that's 3/4 size. Let me put this up, and we'll show you what a half looks like. Let me get this down and out of here. Just like that. And here we are over with a half. All right, and this is nowhere near. This is in rough shape, and it's going to need a lot of work. You'll notice first thing, it doesn't have a fingerboard on it. Doesn't have a ticket in it, so there's no indication of where the thing was made. It's definitely a student-grade instrument. I don't have any idea what the 2-3 is written down the center of the scoop out there under the fingerboard, but anyway, it's going to have some new pegs. The actual ones that are in there fit well, but they've worked themselves way too far in. You don't do that. I mean, on any peg, the very tip of the peg should fit flush with the outside of the cheek on the opposite side, and these things have come all the way through. In other words, as the peg gets worn, it kind of goes further and further into the hole until it's kind of right up against the cheek like that, and that's just not right. That's not the way they're supposed to fit. So, gonna have to have a new set of pegs on this. And like I said, new bridge, new fingerboard, new tailpiece, because none of that stuff came with it. The one interesting thing about this is that it has, let's do this the other way. it has, let's see if there it is. The sound post's still up. I'm shocked. Anyway, well, it's almost in the right position. It's a little close to the back of the foot. So it needs to go back just a tinch there, but the instrument is filthy. And very, well, not plain. It's got a little bit of curly in the back, curly maple. But here's the problem. Aside from needing a new fingerboard, new pegs, new tailpiece, new bridge, aside from all that, here's the problem. And this is where it's going to require a lot of work. Wouldn't you know, after looking everything over, I come to this. I said, no, I don't want to see that. What this shows is that the tail block is let go. And you say, well, how do you know that, Randy? In the first place, somebody has slathered a lot of glue up underneath here to get this top down at some point. Way too much glue. But you see that crack right there? And I don't know if you can tell, but you see how that's pulled out away? These are referred to as the ribs, okay? Well, the east side rib of the bottom bout here, these are called bouts, the sections, has pulled out. Well, it's not just has it pulled out, the tail block itself has let go. And the way I know that is to take this and stick it down in here like this. And I'm not gonna draw on this now. I'm gonna show you how much that goes in. I already did it earlier. See how much that goes in? What that means is that the tail block is let go almost completely on the east side of the bout. So if that can go all the way underneath the tail block, it means the top is going to come off, the tail block is going to come undone, and basically I'm going to be repeating the same procedure that I did with the Chew violin. Same deal. So anyway, that's what we're up against, and we'll catch you on next part of this episode at a later time. Okay, well, after introducing this little half-size violin, I am going to go ahead and start cleaning it a little bit before working on it. I like to do it just because when you have a particularly grubby violin, it makes you feel better about the work you're about to do to correct the structural problems. If you get it cleaned up, and now you're going to clean it again later, by the way, but I mean, just to see what the thing is going to look like when you get all done and everything's corrected and everything's up and running. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and shake up my my bottle of violin polish that I described in the last episode, Wake violin polish, and make sure you get a good mix on it. And then we're going to go ahead and get started, get some. And by the way, I already photographed this, and if you're doing any kind of a video, doing YouTube, one of the good things you need to concentrate on is if you're going to, this whole camera is shaking here, is do before and after shots. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten all done with a project and said, oh, garbage, I forgot to photograph what it looked like before. So I've really started trying to concentrate on that and see if there's a huge difference here. This, I don't know if you can tell that. And it's not just the shine, it's getting some crud off. So anyway, all right, well, I'm going to keep going on this. And it's got this like gray haze to it. I don't exactly understand what it was that it may just be, perspiration, many grubby little fingers. Keep in mind this is a low-grade student half-size violin, so it would have had kids playing it over the years. And from the look of it, it looks like it has been played. So anyway, that's better. That's better. Still that kind of gray look is not going away. It may just be a really bad varnish job. don't know if you can tell by looking at that. It's anyway, I'll get you a clearer view in a few minutes, but I'm going to keep working on the. Going to go over the top. This is where most of your grunge buildup is, because this is where rosin gets deposited and never cleaned up, especially with students. And I think I am going to go ahead and use a little bit of that 4F steel wool. Hang on just a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, ready to go. Keep in mind here, when I use steel wool like this, I'm sure some violin craftsman, violin repairman would disagree with my whole even use of this, but when I do this, I just very, very lightly, all I'm doing is breaking the surface of the crud that's been built up on this. I'm not pressing down so as to get into the varnish. Oh yeah. Well, I'm only going to show a little bit of this procedure because this is rather time consuming. And I'm going to give this a little bit more, and then I'm going to try to wipe it down and see what we're getting off. Yeah, I can see we've got a little bit of a slurry going here, where this crud that's breaking down. Let's see what we got. And you got some crud coming off. Yeah, this is, I can see a buildup right here in the center, which is exactly where you would expect it to be. Rosin. Some munchkin was hugging the bridge with his bow. I'm not cleaning up afterward. All right, well, I'm not going to keep doing this forever, recording it anyway. I'll give you a glimpse of this after we're all done with the initial cleanup. I'm not going to spend forever on a cleanup job that's going to have to be re-cleaned later after all the repairs are done. So, all right, well, listen, thanks for stopping by this portion of restoring Little Guard. Here we go. This portion of Old Fiddles New Life. Just trying to get a good start on this. The good news is this violin doesn't have to be ready till next summer, so I'm going to take my sweet time about all the repairs that are going to go into it. One of the things I will say before we get off from this section is when you see a violin that has its top and back securely in place, for the most part. I mean, there's not any indication that this top has been off a whole lot, or if at all. I mean, the positioning of it, as far as the ribs are concerned, looks really, really good. And yet you've got this problem with the tail block, and you don't have any choice. If you want to correct that tail block, you can't just go squirting glue in there and clamping it. I mean, you could. I mean, I'm sure there are guys that have done that before. But to do it right, you've got to take the top off. And I hate to do that. This violin was actually pinned. It has a little wood pin right here that when they put this top on, for positioning's sake, they went ahead and once it was in, they went ahead and put a little wooden pin in to hold everything securely there while the glue set up. Anyway, all that's got to be undone for the sake of getting at the tail block and making the repair that needs to be done on this instrument. So, all right, we'll get back to you a little bit later. Okay, guys, so what I've decided to do with this episode is to expand it a little bit because I'm doing a half size, and I just wanted to show you the difference between the different sizes. In the front here, we have my German Strad, which is a full-size instrument, and full-size violins are roughly 23 and a half inches long. That's all the way from the top of the scroll up here to the tail pin. Okay, so 23 and a half inches long. Along comes your 3/4 size. This is the same little 3/4 I showed you earlier in this episode. And the little 3/4 size is 22 inches. And ironically, as I was looking up this information, each one of these are dead on exactly the measurements that they give. Anyway, but you can see the difference when you jump from a full-size instrument, which is 23 and a half, all the way down to the little baby, and they make them smaller than this. 20-inch long half size, and I don't know if you can see the difference there, but obviously you can. But anyway, that's why when a child is young, about 6 to 10 years old, they will be on this instrument a half size. And by the way, that's the reason I'm not going to kill myself trying to make this thing absolutely pristine. It's got a really horrible varnish job. I'm not going to mess with it. I mean, I'm going to get the thing up and running and in good condition, including the tail block. But other than that, I'm just going to, get it up and running because Nathan is not going to be on it that long. He's going to, if he continues with the violin, he's going to go from about 6 years old to 10 years old, which is late next summer. Up until he's 10, and then he'll move out of that one, and then he'll move into this one, the 3/4 size, and that goes all the way from roughly 9, 11, 12 years old, something like that. And then finally, when you get to be about 12 years old, your body size and the length of your arm has increased to the point where you can go ahead and use a full-size instrument. They measure these according to fractions. This is a 4/4. This is a 3/4, this is a half. And, the way that you measure for the violin, I mean, aside from the general ages that I just gave you, is to measure from your neck, to stick your arm out straight and measure to the center of your palm. And by the way, the old way that I was taught was that, if you can take that instrument and hold it under your chin with your arm out and curl your fingers up around the scroll, okay, then that instrument is the proper size for you. If you can't curl your fingers up around the scroll, you need to go on to the next size down so that you can do that. All of this has to do with you being able to have the arm length to get your fingers up over the fingerboard and adequately, manipulate your fingers without having to have your fingers stretched out in an unnatural position. So, anyway, just a little sidelight here. I thought it was very appropriate, since I happen to be working on a half-size violin, that I go ahead and do this little comparison. Like I said, my lovely old German Strad and beautiful little, what did I say, Bulgarian? I can't remember where it was. Anyway, yeah, 3/4 size. And I just found the chin rest that came off from this. It is the chin rest is broken. It was very old, very fragile, and it broke somewhere. I don't even know when. But it says Czechoslovakian on it, so I'm guessing this is probably a Czechoslovakian half-size violin. So, all right, I'm going to let this stand as one little part of this. And I think because the work on this is going to start up in earnest, and we're going to do that on another video, I'm just going to say thanks for stopping by. Old Fiddles, New Life, and that's I think this is a good place to stop. A little education on the sizes of violins. By the way, one last thing, they go much smaller than this. They go all the way, this is a half size, they go all the way down to 1/8 size. I mean, I saw a little girl, 2 years old? I said, what? I'm shocked that they even try that, but anyway. Yeah, look, that's enough for this video. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for stopping by Old Fiddles New Life, and we'll catch you on the next time. And the next time we'll be working on this baby right here.